Hello, Supergirl Radio listeners, followers, likers, wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this on the Supergirl Radio Facebook page or on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel, we're going to be live tonight talking about season 5 as a whole. So we're going to be looking back on season 5 to talk about what worked for us, what didn't work for us, what were some of our highlights. So we're going to be having that conversation tonight. So feel free to drop us a comment in the comment section if you would like. Hey, Leslie and Rachel, I see you there in the comments watching on YouTube. I know some people do prefer YouTube, so you can definitely watch us there. It's a good way to do it because you'll always be notified when we go live, and you'll get to see all of the content afterwards after it's posted. So we're going to hang out for a few minutes, let people come in. Morgan has yet to join us, so she'll be in here in a minute. So we'll hang out until everybody kind of gathers up, and we'll get started tonight. Rachel asked favorite Lena outfit of the season. I'm so glad you asked, because I may have put together a PowerPoint presentation for us to discuss that. So we will be looking at all of at least as many outfits as I could. I went through 501 through the finale and tried to pull the more notable Lena outfits of the season. So we will definitely be looking through those and picking our favorites. Some I had forgotten about, which was surprising. There may have been a leopard print top at one point, if you remember. That was notable, and I had forgotten about it. So we will definitely, Rachel, talk about Lena's outfits for the season. We'll do a little boardroom or ballroom, so get your picks ready if you have any favorites. Mark asks, where's more of the action at YouTube or Facebook? Let's see. I see a lot of YouTube folks. That's where I'm seeing most people. There's a few Facebookers in there, but if you want to actually, I can see all of the comments all in one place. But if you're looking to interact with other listeners, it seems like there's a couple of folks on Facebook, but I'm getting a lot of YouTube comments. So if you want to head over to YouTube, you might see some friendly faces there. Let's see, including the Rhythm Nation outfit. Yes, we will be talking about her. It's a Super Life outfit, the more evil Lena outfit. So we'll definitely be looking out for those outfits. So we're gonna talk about a little bit. We got a little bit of news up at the top, and then we'll talk about some points about season 5. And so definitely share your thoughts with us. We don't have any snap judgments this week, so if you have any snap judgments you want to put in the comment section, feel free to do that. Looks like we got Morgan here. Hello. We already got some requests to look at Lena's outfits for the season.
Oh, nice.
So I've got my PowerPoint ready to go.
I'm so excited.
There were some things I had forgotten about. Okay, so Morgan, just so you know, first, do you have the Google Doc? I always want to check, make sure in case you don't have it.
I've got it.
So I do have
short.
It was short. Let's
6
see.
pages.
That's pretty good. It's a lot of content, but it's a short doc. So just so that everybody knows, so last time we gathered together, I didn't have any sound effects. I found the StreamYard hack for sound effects. So we are going to attempt to play theme music, ballroom or boardroom or ballroom sound effects, the news sound effects, all that. So hopefully it will sound somewhat like a regular episode of Supergirl Radio. So we'll try to recreate that here. But with me driving, it could go wrong. I don't know. It's live. So we'll try it out. And Morgan, just so you know, they'll play through, and StreamYard might show that it mutes your mic while it's playing. So just wait for it to finish, and it will automatically come back to us. So
Cool.
So just let it do its thing, and then we'll pick it back up after it's finished. All right. Is there anything else we need to cover? Can't find y'all on YouTube. Okay. I will post a link in the comment section for Donna. So hopefully you guys will see that. Yeah, that should go to both locations. So, we do have a snap judgment. Thank you, Mark. All right, so we'll keep an eye out on the snap judgments. All right, cool. Okay, I guess we could go ahead and get started, Morgan, if you're into that.
I'm down.
I think let me do one last double check. I think since we're getting people watching us from Facebook, yeah, we're live on Facebook. I like to double check to make sure so that we don't get to talking and it doesn't do anything. All right, cool. Okay, all right. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and we can go ahead and get this thing started. If get my little handy sound effects. All right. Well, if you're good.
Yeah, I just saw that at the bottom of the doc that there's a list of all the DC TV podcasts because I forgot the last time.
Well, here's the thing. So I think while we do it live, maybe we should have fun with it.
That seems fair. That seems fair. I've foisted off my plugging duties on others long enough.
I didn't assign it to you. You assumed it would go to you.
It's true.
So I'm going to give it. That's going to be yours.
I took on the mantle onto myself. So
you asked for it. So it's yours to take. All right. Well, cool. Okay. All right. I'm going to get us going with the theme music here, and we'll be back in a second.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to take a look back at Supergirl's 5th season. So we talked about the finale, but now we're going to actually talk about the season as a whole. So what
overall,
as overall thoughts on what worked for us, because there were some things I think that worked for us. There were definitely some things that didn't work for us. So we'll talk about all those things, and maybe we'll talk about some highlights of the season that we enjoyed. And so we'll get to all those things, and feel free, if you're watching us live, to post your thoughts in the comments, and we'll take those and read your thoughts and respond to them if we need to. So feel free to kind of join in the conversation and join us in talking about season 5. But first, we need to get to
the news.
This isn't like a typical news section, because this is more of like a kind of an update, or like a, hey, this is an announcement. Supergirl season 5 is now available on Netflix. If you want to actually go back and rewatch season 5 after we talk about season 5 as a whole, you can fact check us on things if you need to. But Supergirl season 5 is now available on Netflix. I watched a little bit of it this afternoon. So that was enjoyable. So you can rewatch all of your Rama content to your heart's desire.
Oh man, I didn't think about that. What if, I feel like I need somebody on the internet to put together the all Ramacon version of season 5. Just all the Ramacon scenes.
Just cut it up into a Rama montage.
Yes.
That would be awesome. And I do see we have a question in here. Since we're in the news section, I figured this would be a good place. Update on the William is Comic contest. Good question, Rachel. That ends on May 31st. That's the deadline. We do have quite a bit of entries and submissions, and we've kind of already been going through those and picking some of our favorites. So definitely, if you still have some stories in your mind, cooking them up, feel free to send us your stories to supergirlradio@gmail.com and submit your William as comment stories. So
yeah, you have like 1 week left, basically. I mean, if you have a great idea, if it's like just it's inside of you and it needs to get out on the page, like now is the time to do it. Don't let Comet down.
So you can write up to 5 stories per person, and it's a 500 word max. It just has to be set in the world of the CW Supergirl, and it has to have in there somewhere that William is revealed to be Comet the Superhorse. So
we've seen some really creative ways that people have figured it out, like how William is Comet. It's been pretty amazing to read.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun reading those stories since the show doesn't seem interested, but we're filling that gap for everybody. So you do have time left if you're listening to this right now to submit a story, and that will count as a $5 donation to Emory Hospital's COVID-19 response. So we are doing this not just to fill the need for our sake to have a William as Comet the Superhorse story, but it is to do some good. All right. So I guess those are kind of our only, we'll save the fundraiser reminder until the end with the DCTV podcast plugs. I guess that'll be a good place to put that. All right. So I guess we could get started on talking about the thing that everybody came here to talk about, which is season 5 and our look back on it. So we do this every season to kind of just, take a step back. We've dissected all the individual episodes, and now we're going to look at it as a whole and see if it kind of stuck together. So, Morgan, I guess we could start positively.
Sure.
What worked for you in season 5?
Okay. What worked for me in season 5? I wish I had come prepared to this podcast with like thoughts and ideas. I think we can go through them like really fast. I like the 100th episode, It's a Wonderful Life, like going back through what would have been if Kara had told Lena at various points in the show's history. While it was like every version would have been terrible and everyone dies, so I guess you were right. And I was annoyed by that. I did like that whole episode. I thought it was a really fun premise, and we got to see got to see the version where they were like superheroes together, and then we got to see the version where like Metallalina was like, I will kill everyone. And I liked both of those versions. I was like, the more dramatic Lena Luthor gets, the more I like it, the more I'm into it. So that was a favorite. Obviously, Hope. I think that goes without saying. The fact that Lena made her own robot friend, who turned out to be like just a tiny bit homicidal. I like that a lot. She was like, Lena was like, we're gonna really show Supergirl. We're gonna like really embarrass her. And then Hope is like, by killing her. And she's like, no, God, we've talked about this. No, Hope, calm down. Ramakan, obviously a highlight, a standout. I threw a lot of shade on Ramakan in the beginning. I said that his power was mulch from Home Depot. And while I stand by that, and it kind of was. But then as time went on, like I like began to like Ramakan more and more, especially since the other people in Leviathan turned out to be an old lady that Lex just killed for no reason. And then Pencil Skirt, who I'm still not sure what her deal was. So by default, Ramakan was the scariest villain of the season. It's a low bar, but he hopped over it on his dirt pile. What else? What else do I like? I like that we got a little bit of Dreamer stuff, but not much. Let's see, the brainy stuff I did not really enjoy that much.
Okay,
I'm going through like in my Rolodex, like what were things I like the Alex episode in the VR. I thought it was nice to have Alex like have her own episode, and obviously the Jeremiah Danvers reveal, 1, that he's not just wandering the woods, he's dead, and then 2, that it turns out Eve killed him. That is
so good.
That's chef's kiss. That's amazing. I can't argue with that one. That was incredible. And like well played. trying to think of other things. I liked a lot of the scenes between Melissa Benoist and Katie McGraw. I thought that they played out that, even though I didn't always love the whole feud between Kara and Lena, I liked a lot of their really emotional scenes together, where Kara, that scene where Kara comes clean, admits that she's Supergirl, such good acting from both of them. Like, a lot of the scenes where Lena is really mad and like explaining why she's mad and how she feels betrayed. There's a lot of good acting between the two of them. Anything Kara and Lena really I liked a lot, even though I think there were some faltering moments. And then obviously I like seeing the random prisoner dude that we met. Was it last season?
Oh yeah.
Can't believe he came back into play.
The Willie Garson character.
I loved seeing some of our old friends come back to play. Like we got oh gosh, in the 100th episode, right? We had Rain and Sam come back. We had Monel pop back up. We had Chico.
Thomas Scoville.
Scoville came back. That was fun.
He came back leading a cult.
Of course, that's the only way I want him back. So, so I think that there are some nice like shout outs to like the previous seasons that I really enjoyed. I think those are my highlights, I think, from the season.
Okay, yeah, yours overlap a little bit with mine. I really enjoyed the season premiere Event Horizon. That was probably one of my. I think I had maybe 2 episodes that I really loved: Event Horizon and It's a Super Life. And Event Horizon, mostly because I thought it was actually really well acted. It was well acted and well written, and it left me really optimistic about the rest of the season. I don't know that the season lived up to it, but I really enjoyed it because there was a lot of good dramatic tension, and that came from the acting and what had been built up to that point. So I really loved the premiere. I also was very surprised by Crisis on Infinite Earths and the use of Supergirl in that.
I guess I think of Crisis as like its own entity, like its own thing, like independent of the show. But I did really like, I thought Crisis was overall really fun and I enjoyed it a lot. I think there were some pacing issues, but I think that they actually used, I know both of us, we had concerns that like with all the 25 Supermen in that episode, in those episodes, that Supergirl was going to get overshadowed. And I think they used her really well.
Yeah, I agree. I was pleasantly surprised because I was sort of dreading it going into it. And I was like, oh, Kara actually gets a lot to do. And she's actually a very important part of this. So I really enjoyed Crisis. Let's see. I also enjoyed the 100th episode. I loved Metallo Lena so much. That's probably all that the show's going to give me with Evil Lena. So I'm just going to have to be grateful. And that episode also it had a lot of great mixy stuff. And I enjoyed seeing him come back, even if it was a different actor. I thought he did really well. And it also had a focus on Kara. And I think the episodes that really focused on Kara and had some really good Kara stuff were the ones that I liked so much. I don't know if you remember the Olsen aspects of this season. In preparing for this episode and our discussion here, I had actually forgotten that season 5 was the season that Makad Brooks left the show.
Rebecca texted me like a couple days ago and she's like, do you remember that James Olsen left the show this season? I was like, legitimately no. I did not remember that at all.
I had forgotten. Like, it just feels like that happened such a long time ago.
Like a million years ago.
But I did like his exit. It was a little rough because they went through that whole, like, is he going to work at the Smithsonian? Is he going to run for Congress or whatever? And he decides he's going to go to Calvintown and, mentor the Newsboy Legion. That's my headcanon.
That's what he's starting. He's starting the Newsboy from Calvintown. It will like move down. What if it becomes like an evil Newsboy Legion? He just starts taking over other towns with the Legion.
I would watch that. So even though I had totally forgotten about James's exit, I thought it was handled fairly well. So I was glad that he got a good not shoving off the show, but he got a graceful exit from the show that he had been such a big part of, and he had been a sort of founding cast member of. And speaking of Olsons, I did think that I liked the character of Kelly Olsen a lot more this season. She got more to do. Even though it's still weird that she has the Guardian Shield, but they're not doing anything with it.
Even though I had a lot of questions about her job and how she was qualified for it in any way, I did like that we got to see more of her.
Yeah, I thought the times that we got to hang out with her, I did enjoy spending time with Kelly. I mean, Hope the AI, a definite standout. I mean, I think with all the problems, the ups and the downs and everything in between, Hope was like that constant. You go back to that Hope well, and it was all right. And the last thing that I was going to talk about was the return of Wen Shot.
Yeah, I realized by looking at the chat, like when I was like rattling off the things I liked, that I forgot about the Win episodes, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that was a great little set of episodes, and I could have had more Win. Like I would have been into that. They did a really cool storyline with Toyman. We got to see the original Toyman come back, Henry Cherney, and so that was a surprise this season. I was kind of dreading it because I didn't know exactly what they were going to do with him, but it turned out to be really awesome. So let's see. I guess we'll take some comments from the chat. Rachel says Brainy was written much better this season. Oh, that's interesting. Because I might disagree with that. But that's a good take. But I guess the comment here is that written better than season 4, which might be the case. Brainy actually had a storyline this season.
That's debatable. Yeah, I think that he did actually have a storyline this season, whereas I cannot remember anything in particular that he did last season besides being there.
Yeah, I think he started dating Nia, and that was kind of it. So yeah, Brainy actually did have a full storyline this season. Donna says that she liked Alex leaving the DEO.
Oh man, the DEO got destroyed this season.
yeah, that happened. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Alex moving forward. Let's see, what else do we have here? Leslie says Event Horizon was very good. I agree. I wish all episodes of Supergirl had that same quality to them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Leslie also says Supergirl actually had a part to play in Crisis.
That was nice. Sometimes she gets a little overshadowed in those big crossover events where they like bench her, they put her in a corner because she's like too powerful. They're like, I'm sorry, I just don't trust you. Sit over there, Supergirl. She's like, I'm the only one who can do things.
If it came down to it, Supergirl could just save the day at every crossover.
She basically doesn't need the rest of them. Let's be honest.
So those are the things that we kind of thought were the things that worked really well for the season in season 5. So I guess we could go the other way, Morgan. You might have more thoughts here. I don't know. But maybe what didn't work for you?
Ooh, Leviathan. I think let's start with the big overall arcing storyline in season 5, which is that Leviathan was both like not in it enough and in it too much. They weren't scary, but everybody talked about them as if they were super scary.
The greatest threat of all time.
The greatest threat of all time. And yet throughout most of the season, they were either in the background, just kind of being talked about in whispers. They didn't really do anything.
They launched a product.
And most of the season launching a product. Like they were in like product development meetings all season. Like there's nothing scary about like a all hands on deck marketing meeting, except that you might have to be in it. And I was very strange. I saw what they were going for, but I don't think that they ever really hit the mark on this being this like really scary, secretive organization that is like, and when it was pitched in season 4, it was like Leviathan is everywhere. Leviathan could be anyone. And then season 5 comes around and it's like Leviathan is 3 people. It's an old lady who wraps people up as burritos. It's Pencil Skirt. She's busy launching her product. And it's Rama Khan. He's repotting a plant in the corner over there. And so like the people that they chose to represent Leviathan weren't that scary. And then they completely seemed to do away, like early on in the season with the idea that they had a wide reach and that they were everywhere and that they could be anyone. And like really the only ways that they like pulled that through the season was through like Andre Rojas, which after Crisis they just kind of tossed that away. And then Eve, which is like, I mean, yes, it did get us to Eve poisoning Jeremiah Danvers, but that was mostly Lex. So so that wasn't Leviathan either. It was the least impressive villain that they've ever had on the show. And like last season, I was so tired of Agent Liberty, like deep in my bones tired of that dude. And I would have probably gone back to him versus Leviathan this season. Like, God bless Rama Khan. Give it up. I will watch his gardening show any day. But like, it's just like one of the least impressive villains I think that they've ever had on the show. And they usually don't have much of a problem with that. Like Rain was great. Astro was great.
Queen
Terry,
Rhea.
Queen. We had Lillian Luthor and Queen Rhea in one season.
How did
we get from there to Pencil Skirt?
Well, we did, just to remind you, we did have some 3 nameless people from the finale. Although they did get
the
named.
Ramacons and the Ramaconettes.
The Conettes, yeah.
The Conettes.
They do have names, but they're pretty forgettable, and they sort of showed up out of nowhere.
I was more glad that they showed up than like I was like, who are you now? The last episode is too late for you to be a thing.
Well, and we do have to remember they did have some things that happened at the end of the season. Maybe that was, but at the same time, how much of that could have been?
I mean,
rushed?
I feel like the last 3 episodes were the 3 that kind of got spliced and edited together. So at the most, the Conettes were in 3 episodes, like down to 2. And I don't like, that's not the time. Like you had the whole season to introduce like more people as part of Leviathan, and then they waited until like the last couple, and they were like, we need Earth, Wind, and Fire, dude.
Yeah, Leslie came in with the names because those are my Google Docs and I don't have them up. But
nice.
Tezumak, Sayla, and Ramakan,
and obviously my boy Ramakan.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think it's much more of a mysterious idea that you never know who could be part of Leviathan. I know
I thought that idea was cool when they kind of introduced it at the end of season 4. Like it could be anyone. And to me, like old lady Margot was supposed to be like like, oh my God, you wouldn't think that this like older woman is like this big scary boss lady, but she could be, because Leviathan could be anybody. And then like the next time you see Leviathan, it's like it's a Skinner in a weird like Renaissance costume, and you're like, that dude is not anybody. I'm gonna notice him going down the street. Like
he didn't try to blend in with
really
the rest of the normal people at all. That's a really good point. I know I bring up V on ABC. V's reimagining a lot. I know nobody else has watched that but me. But
I watched a little bit for Elizabeth Mitchell.
But the beginning of that is that they took a different spin on V, in that the visitors, you never knew who a visitor could be. It could be they could look like normal human beings and you wouldn't know that they were aliens. And that was kind of a mysterious kind of like, you never know, your best friend could be a visitor, your boss could be somebody. So I think if they had sort of played that up, I think it might have added a little more stakes and tension to the season. So I agree that is that is a good point. Mark, I love it. Now that's how you kill your mother. That's one of the greatest TV lines that nobody's ever known about, because that's in the V finale. I'm not going to spoil it for people, but dang, that was good. The end of season 2 of V was so good.
I'm always sad when like the show is just starting to find its voice, and that's when it gets canceled, and you're like, it was becoming good.
Yeah, it was so good. Why did you cancel it? But yeah, so it had a similar feel to it. V. So I think if they had played that up a little more, I think it would have been would be better. I also did not care for Leviathan. I was listening back to some of our season 5 episodes because I'm working on the 300th episode, trying to get the sort of the best of. And I just heard myself on our Bodyguard episode just saying, this episode was so boring. Nothing happened. I don't care about Leviathan. And I just remember thinking, like, back through watching that episode, they really genuinely spent the entire episode like launching a product. It wasn't until the penultimate episode that it got kind of scary that we saw what they were capable of doing with the takedown of the DEO. So I agree. Leviathan, I think, could have been a lot better than it was. And the unfortunate fact that it sort of turned into the Lex Luthor show at that point.
Yeah, he was going to be one of my I hate to say that he's like one of my season 5 lowlights, because I think that John Cryer's Lex Luthor is like one of my favorite Lex Luthors, honestly. Like I really like how he plays that role. And like when they announced he was coming on to the show and that he was going to play Lex Luthor, I was like, okay. Like, okay, Ducky Lex Luthor, I'll give you a shot. And then Ducky Lex Luthor came on and he like blew it out of the water, and I was like, okay, like I can get behind this portrayal of Lex. I really like him. I thought he was like, acting wise, Lex was great throughout. Like John Cryer as Lex Luthor, you're gonna have a good scene. He started taking over the whole show is the problem. Like, I think I saw an article tweeted the other day on like Twitter that was like, oh, the best part of Supergirl season 5 was Lex Luthor. I was like, but that shouldn't be, because the best part of a Supergirl season should be Supergirl. And so he's like, not only did he take over the whole show, it felt like, especially in the back half post-Crisis, but he also kind of cut into Leviathan. Like, here's this big scary villain that's supposed to be the scariest villain of all time, and they're getting outsmarted by Lex Luthor. Like, everyone gets outsmarted by Lex Luthor. And it just kind of started to feel like, well, how scary can they be? Like, if this random dude, like, not that Lex is nobody, but like if he's outsmarting them, can't be that scary. And then they're spending the whole season just launching a product. So not seeing the scare factor. But yeah, I think the way that Lex kind of took over the season, for me, it made me kind of just go like, I think sparingly is the right amount for Lex.
Yeah, and I think to your point, if Leviathan can be defeated by Supergirl just rattling off a hope speech, to me that lessens the stakes and makes it kind of samey. And that's one of the things I would have put out there, is that this season felt a lot like it was ripping off other seasons, and I didn't much care for that. It didn't feel fresh. It felt like I was repeating a lot of things, which didn't help in the season that Crisis was involved, which literally did sort of repeat things. But also, one of the things that I would put down into the category of what didn't work for me, I like the idea of Crisis. I think Crisis was actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
But I think Supergirl, the show, felt the brunt of a lot of those changes, and I think never
Crisis,
quite made sense.
Yeah, I think Crisis like came along and basically like just kicked Supergirl in the shins really hard. Like the beginning of the season was not. It's probably not my favorite. Even the beginning of the season wasn't my favorite, but I thought there were some real strong parts in the beginning of the season. And then Crisis came along, and everything post-Crisis was very muddled. And I think part of that was that they never explained what exactly had changed and how from Crisis. They were just like, the world's different. But then you're like, well, what does Andrea Rojas know and not know at this point? But they never really felt like explaining that. Or they would just drop storylines that they had set up, like, literally just in the first half of the season. I think Crisis really hit this show a lot harder than it hit some of the other ones. Although I only watched like 2 of the other ones, so I can't say. But it didn't seem like it hit Batwoman or Legends. I mean, nothing hits Legends. Legends is a moving target. But it felt like it really kneecapped this season in a way that I don't know that it did on a lot of the other shows.
And I don't think it had to. I think it could have been explained. I like the idea of them coming back to this new Earth Prime where Lex is the hero. I think that's a cool take. I think that's a really neat story to explore, but you could just give us a little more information on some things. And I also didn't like that Crisis also made a lot of things from the first half of the season feel pointless, because things changed, and it felt like, why did we go through those episodes where we had backstories of Andrea Rojas and William Day, and then
William.
that kind of didn't
Well,
matter?
I think that like the new characters, and I hate to say it, but they were also part of what didn't work for me in this new season. And not all of that was the character's fault, because a lot of it was that we were just starting to establish them, and then Crisis came along, and we had no idea if their pre-existing backstory was still the case. And in a lot of cases, it seemed like it wasn't. Like William's new backstory had to do with Lex instead of Andrea. So that left us wondering like what Andrea knew and didn't know. We spent an entire flashback episode with her and Lena that like even at the end of the season, I was unclear on whether or not all that stuff had happened.
Right. Yeah, and it takes a little bit of the heart out of things, because with the, like we had talked about with Andrea, if you change William's story, that changes Andrea's story a little bit, and then it sort of makes everything feel really muddied and uneven and confusing.
Yeah, they had that whole thing with Russell, who was like a big part of her backstory, a big part of William's backstory, and it completely changed post-Crisis, so that William thought it was that Lex was responsible for his friends dying, and I wasn't even sure. I don't remember if Andrea even dated him in the post-Crisis. So then we spent all that time like dealing with that storyline where it's like, but why? It's not playing any part into the back half.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the season was sort of pointless, and that's not I don't think where you would want people to end up. I also, to add to that, Malefic, or Malefic, however you want to pronounce it. He
was
in season 5.
Well,
that was when he was introduced.
Oh, I feel like my head is melting. Okay, so I will say, like the Malefic or Malefic or whatever, however you pronounce his name, and the pronunciation did rove over the season.
Yes, it did.
But I liked that. I liked that storyline with him and John. I thought that was actually really strong stuff, and I think it really paints a picture of how disjointed this season felt. Like it felt like 2 different seasons of 2 different television shows, that like the James stuff and the Malefic stuff and like a lot of that stuff doesn't feel like it was part of season 5 at all, because like once Malefic got in the space car and drove away, like we basically never heard from him again. And it didn't seem to have like a lot of effect on John after a couple episodes, like kind of never brought up.
Well, when Magan randomly showed back up at the end of the season, she gave us an update on Malefic and how he had been a hero in their war. But
I really thought that was the end of season 4, though.
No, it was season 5, and that's what I think is so unfortunate about the first half, is that everything, because of Crisis, seemed to go into a rushed mode. Malefic, I think, should have been a bigger deal. They could have done more with him, but because of Crisis, they had to get that story out really quickly so they could get to Crisis. So I think it's strange that Malefic is such a big deal to the character of Jean, and he came in, they had some good things with him, but then he sort of became a non-entity in the season, to the point that I forgot that he was in season 5. So that I think is sad for me personally, because we had been waiting so long for Malefic to show up. I also what didn't work for me in the season was I liked the Cara Williams stuff for the most part. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I didn't like the idea that Cara was a supporting character in Williams' storyline. And
yeah, I mean, after having the whole like a bunch of season 4 revolve around like Cara basically like saves the day through journalism in season 4, and starts the season literally winning a Pulitzer.
Yes,
is how she starts the season, and then she doesn't work again for the rest of the season. Like that's like legit. That's what happened. She never works again. She's like, you know what? Now I got the highest honor. I'm gonna coast, baby. I'm gonna coast. And the only person we ever see doing any journalism is William, which is kind of unfortunate, because like you have 2 other journalist characters on the show. You have both Nia and Cara. And I knew last season when Cara took Nia under her wing that Nia was never going to work again. And I
Bad
was
influence.
right. A bad influence. She doesn't go to work anymore. She doesn't work on projects. So the only person we ever see doing journalism is William. And it's like, why can't Kara get a journalism story occasionally every now and then? Like, it doesn't have to be every episode or anything, but like just occasionally to remind us what she does. Like, she did very little journalism in this season.
Yeah, I just didn't like how it played into William having a story and Kara not. I think you could have reworked that to where Kara had that story. And Leviathan, for all their faults of being a villain that only wanted to launch a consumer product to make some money, and maybe also control people's minds and kill them in a VR, but that's a whole other thing. But they were a worthy investigation, like trying to figure out who they are, where they're located, what are they doing, what are they up to. That would have been a great investigative story for Kara, but they didn't seem interested in that. They also didn't seem interested in the Kara William romance too, which was strange.
Had absolutely no interest in that romance whatsoever. It was like they were checking a box off of a checklist that they had been given. Like, the checklist said Kara must have a love interest, don't care who. And they were like, cool, neither do we. And in comes poor William, who gets like nothing to do basically. And like that love interest storyline was really underplayed to the point where it was like, we got to the end of the season. I think one of our listener questions at like last week was like, are they even together? Are they dating? And neither of us knew. I don't know. But I also noticed somebody in the comments mentioned, like, since Kara won the Pulitzer for uncovering Lex in the end of season 4, does she now have a Pulitzer or not post-crisis? Because my guess would be not, right?
I think they mentioned it in one of the episodes post-crisis that she was a Pulitzer-winning journalist. So I think she still has won a Pulitzer
at this point. They haven't explained what she won a Pulitzer for.
Yeah, because we don't know if that's still, because
it wasn't uncovering Lex Luthor, who was a super swell guy at the beginning.
Because he was a hero. Yeah. That's such a big deal for Kara to win a Pulitzer, and that should be a bigger deal for them to tell us about that kind of thing. So I guess we could go through some of the chat's thoughts. So Donna says, biggest problem was that they didn't show us the changes in the New World after Crisis. They did a little bit of it, but not to the point where it made any sense. Leslie says, any plot holes they could chalk up to Crisis. Yeah, unfortunately, that gives them an out for a lot of their maybe writing choices that don't make much sense.
I also kind of felt like they really committed to things are different post-crisis, but it almost felt like they were trying to rewrite the beginning of the season. Whereas I felt like post-crisis, you could have gotten really weird. Like, you could have changed like a lot of stuff. Like, you could have brought back characters we haven't seen in a long time, or changed people up, or like, I don't know, changed big things about the universe. All they did was change like small plot details from like 5 episodes before. So it was confusing, but not in like an exciting way where it's like, oh my God, the show's really different. It's like the show is minorly different and nobody has explained how.
Yeah, that was the problem, is they didn't really explain it. Let's see. Emma says there wasn't really a big through line this season except for the Kara Lena stuff, so it felt weird. Yeah, I guess the Kara Lena stuff was maybe some of the things that worked for me, sort of. I think Lena actually had a storyline. I don't know that Kara did, but I definitely think Lena had a story.
I feel like a lot of Kara's storyline this season was like, I feel sad that I like made my friend upset, and I really want to like get back my relationship with my friend and apologize. And then at some point it was just like, all right, if my friend's going to be a jerk like this, forget it. And like, but that's not a story. Like that's reacting to other people. I think Kara just did a lot of reacting to other people the whole season. She like reacted to Lena, and she like reacted to Lex being back, and she like reacted to even like William and stuff like that. She was like a supporting character in like Nia's story. And
if you had to explain to someone what Kara's story was in season 5, do you think you could do it?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think I would say she had a fight with her friend. Like I can't think of anything else that she did that was just about her.
Yeah, I think mainly if I had to tell somebody what Kara's arc was, I guess it would be dealing with the Lena Luthor thing, because that's what went from premiere to finale.
Yeah,
Stretched
I
out
think
all season.
that felt like her only storyline, and that was also kind of like not just her story. Like it wasn't just a Kara story, it was a Kara and Lena story. And if you think about that storyline, even Lena had her own storyline within that storyline. So
Yeah.
Lena has the story where she feels really betrayed by Kara and she's like, I'm done with you and I'm done with the Super Friends. You guys are so lame, never coming to game night anymore. And then she's like, also, I'm going to mind control the world. And so Lena has the story where she's mad at Kara and they're like fighting, but she also has the side story where she's decided to mind control the world to make them nicer because she logged onto Twitter for a day. And so and she made a robot friend and like she had a lot. Like Lena, if you asked me what Lena's storyline was, I'd be like, she had a lot going on this season.
Yeah, she interacted with Andrea. She had the storyline with Andrea that sort of came full circle by the end. Yeah, I think Lena, would you say that Lena had the most at least attempted, thought out storyline of the season?
I think she had the most consistent storyline of the season. I think she started in like a really dark place with Kara, and she's decided that she was going to like change humanity because she felt really betrayed by her friend. And then she had that whole thing like with Lex where she was kind of she was thinking about letting Lex in, and then he betrayed her. And then at the end of the season, she kind of like, I think I can't remember who it was on Twitter, and I have to apologize because it was so good. But I was, I guess, complaining that Lena seemed to have changed her entire worldview on the walk over to Kara's apartment. And somebody on Twitter related it to in Clueless when she's like Cher's character is walking along with her shopping bags and she's like, I love Josh. And that was like what Lena's like walking along. She stopped to shop. She's got like a gray sweater hanging out of one of the bags. And she was like, you can't mind control everyone. Was I the jerk? And then she goes to Kara's apartment. But like at least she has like self-awareness. You know, she goes through this whole journey. She kind of flirts with the dark side. She comes back, she has self-awareness, and she apologizes. Like there's an arc to her character journey this season that is at least so like sometimes it's like this, but it's going in a direction, whereas Kara's arc is like a point on a map. She's like doesn't really have anything. Like there's nothing really for her that she's doing.
Yeah, and Paula says Lena had the most storyline, and none of those were fight for her soul. I think that's a fair point because I was never concerned that Lena was not going to come back to the side of good. I always kind of figured the show wouldn't go evil Lena. Even though I appreciated the 100th episode, because I think that's genuinely, I think that's the most evil she's ever going to get. And that makes me sad because I think there's a loss of potential there for Katie McGrath.
I hope we have like multiple Elseworlds next season. And in every Elseworld, she's like a different level of evil. Like we get the like Moira Rose Crow version of evil back, like the Crow lady, Metallo Lena. But like in another version, she's like a different flavor of evil. They're like, Katie McGrath, like, just give us whatever version of evil you want to. And she's like, great, I will chew every scenery.
That's all I want. But yeah, I never felt like she was never going to come back. And so that's why ultimately I don't think I ever really cared. Like I cared about the drama between Kara and Lena as friends. And so I think that was a good payoff in the finale for them to sort of reconnect. But I never thought that she was gonna join Lex and do terrible things, even though she was doing terrible things all season. But I was like, she's wanting to mind control the whole world, but I'm sure she's going to be fine. Like I never was concerned.
She's like, I'm going to take over this satellite. I'm going to use this satellite to mind control the world. And Kara's like, it feels like she's getting like a little bad. And Alex is like, are you insane? I feel like they went really far on the Lena doing bad things like right before Crisis. And then at Crisis, like on that episode, that's like when she has like Hope/Eve like take the fall for her and go to jail, and she's kind of like, ha ha ha, Supergirl, we'll see now. And then Crisis, and then she's like a little bit mean to Alex at Crisis. She's like, the world's ending, so I'm gonna put aside our feelings, but I'm not your friend. I was
I'm
like,
still mad.
I literally didn't ask, and which I love. Like Petty Lena is my favorite. But then, like when we come back from Crisis, like they basically, it felt like they soft reset that, where it's like it felt like they were setting Lena up to kind of be a Supergirl villain for a little bit of the season, which I think that they could have still. I think they could have had their cake and eaten it too. I think they could have had her go a little bit badder than she went, and then pull her back at the end of the season. But instead, they just had her in the lab, like working on Non Cherry, and then like going into prisons and like testing it on prisoners, which is not great, but like not on the level where you're like commandeering a satellite like it was like at the halfway point.
Yeah, the Lena stuff could have been really great. It's disappointing to me that now we're just kind of left with Lex and Lillian as bad guys, because we know they're going to be bad. Like there's no mystery there. So that I think was the fun of the Lena stuff, was whether or not she would ever go there. So now we're just kind of left with the Luthors, who we know are going to be bad guys. So while we're here, should we maybe talk about Lena's wardrobe, since we're talking a lot about Lena?
Always.
Because what we usually do during this retrospective is kind of go and maybe pick our favorite Lena outfit for the season. So I guess maybe we should do that right now. All right, let me get our theme music queued up.
And now, Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom?
Okay, all right.
Amazing.
So I have
I love these sound effects.
It's so fun, right? So let me make sure I've got my my good old PowerPoint queued up here. Yes, I put together a PowerPoint of Lena's outfits for the season.
Of course.
What are you going to say about it? All right, so I figured having a visual aid would maybe help us make a decision.
It would, because I've forgotten a lot of these outfits, but they're all fantastic.
Okay, so I don't know if we should go through and just sort of comment on them, or should we? Maybe we could go through them. There's quite a few of them, because I went through all episodes of season 5.
Amazing.
Because I am that nerd. But so I guess we can go through them, talk a little bit about them, and then pick our favorite, like our number one for the season. And I sort of went in order, so this should be from the premiere to the finale. So this is her look. If you're seeing what I'm seeing, you should be.
Yeah.
Sort of lost my screen. But yeah, this is the
red.
This is the Pulitzer acceptance dress.
Nice. I like it. It's not as I liked Car's look here a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's a little bit too boardroom, actually, I would say.
Like, she needed to be more ballroom.
I think for a Pulitzer award, where your friend is accepting the award, and also you're gonna out her as Supergirl, you want a real dramatic look. Like I really wanted a dramatic flair to it. And I don't think that there was as much drama in that look as there was inside of her head, as she was like, take you down. What car? What?
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it could have been maybe a little more, but we did get the Luthorian purple, which was a consistent look throughout all of season 5. So speaking of which, she's wearing some suits in the lab, because that's of course what you do.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a little bit better than her previous open-toed shoes and like fancy club dresses that you might wear to the club with just a lab coat over it. This outfit tells me that she's serious, but also playful, because of the florals. She's like, listen, I can be serious and I can mind control the world, but also I'm gonna bring a little fashion into it. I'm gonna play with patterns. I also feel like this has become a very Lena Luthor look, which is like a patterned shirt with like a cool vest over it, and like I like it. I think that she's finding herself.
Yeah, she does like to wear the floral outfits in the lab. So this was hanging out with Kara. She's still pretending to be Kara's friend. This is Kara like went to to Paris and brought her some stuff back. So this, I don't know that I really like the green skirt with the blue blouse.
Yeah,
I don't think I
mean,
like that color choice.
it's very boardroom, but it doesn't feel daring enough for me. I think what is happening is that she's living a lie in this scene. She's putting on a front, so she can't be powerful like Lena Luthor would be. She can't let those clavicles out. She can't wear a vest over a floral shirt, because that's the real her. This is the fake her.
That's actually a quality analysis. I would buy it. All right, so more suits in the sciencey lab. This had still with the floral.
Yeah. She's committed to the floral.
Yeah. This I was a little shocked by with the. I had forgotten about this.
I did not remember this look at all. This is a very Real Housewives of Beverly Hills look. She's sporting here.
This was just her hanging out in the lab wearing a leopard print top here.
This is Lena Luthor, like a Real Housewife of National City. Look, this is this is what happens there.
No judgments from Hope, though.
Hope is nothing but supportive always, like she's programmed to be. She's like, I love the leopard print. It is really working for you, girl.
So that's a notable look. Then some more skirts with some
are there print? Birds? Is the print birds? It looks like her shirt is trying to flee from her. Fly away.
It might be another floral situation. I don't know. It's either just like shapes or flowers or birds. Who knows?
I feel like if I have to think about it too hard, then I don't like it. If it's like an optical illusion, then I'm getting confused.
So we're going to put this on the low end of our choices for season 5. So this shot with Lena sitting at her lab with the heels, I thought was something we should pay attention to, because she is wearing high heel shoes in the lab for some reason.
As you would, I guess. For some reason, if you're gonna be on your feet for hours at a time, what you want to wear is high-heeled shoes. That's for comfort. That's what you want.
And no one's gonna see you, so that you definitely should wear high-heeled shoes when no one is gonna see you. Especially when you're guarding an alien who's probably gonna be more powerful than you. She has a lot of confidence in No Cherry that she's gonna be able to control Malefic here. So this was kind of the same outfit, a different viewpoint. I mean, I like it. It's kind of dark and sort of samey from the top and the skirt, but she looks good.
Not my favorite Lena Luthor outfit, but I like it. Oh, this is when she got to start rocking those like soft curls.
Okay, so my question here, Morgan, is this a wig? Did we miss a wig?
Oh no, did we miss a wig? I don't know. It's right on that razor's edge of like it could be a wig, or it could be that they just did her hair in a different way and it looks not like we're used to seeing it. If it's a wig, she's getting working it, because I can't tell.
Yeah, I would say working it with this one, but I just I questioned it, so I put it in here.
We might have missed one.
So this is in the flashback with Andrea. I think when they talk about Titanic, another floral look for Lena. She's really into the florals this season.
She's loving the florals, and as somebody else who can't resist a good floral outfit, like I feel her. This one I like, because I like the sort of sheer sleeves. I think the floral goes really well with her like flowy hair. She just seems like someone you want to sit back and have some tea with. Like I feel like this version of Lena Luthor could really lull me into a false sense of security. She'd be like, hey, you want to just hang out and have some tea? And like the tea is probably poisoned by Hope, and I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Let's watch Great British Bake Off together, Lena.
Yeah, I think it does say something about her personally. She just wants to be a normal person. She doesn't, want to be a Luthor. She just wants to be.
She's like, I'm tired of straightening my hair all the time. I'm just gonna let it go.
So this was also in the confidence
the jungle episode.
Confidence Women in flashback with I think it's the Costa Rican jungle.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm a little disappointed that Lena didn't get really either wear a very strange outfit in the jungle, like a like a tight ball dress or something, like like a Barbie dress that you would wear to prom, or didn't like just go in the opposite direction, like completely like cosplay Crocodile Dundee. Like I really want, I really wanted her to wear a weirder outfit than what she's wearing.
Well, I'm surprised it's Andrea who wore like the
like kerchief.
Yeah. I'm surprised that wasn't a Lena thing, but I guess she needed to have, I guess it's sort of like the shoulders out. She needed to have the neck clear of any wardrobe.
That's true. She's like, listen, I can't hide my clavicles. It's where my power is.
So this was a dress that happened in her flashback with Jack Spear. I sort of like the back, the front. I think this is very ballroom. I
like this dress. Yeah, it's very ballroom. It's very dramatic. Her clavicles are out, as you can see.
Shoulders out.
One shoulder is out, so she's like harnessed about half of her power. she's holding back.
So we have a ballroom look here. This is more casual, Lena. We got a couple of casual.
Yeah. She's got the sort of curly hair going on again, just like a white button down. It's a very casual Lena. Now she is standing in front of what looks like a paranoid person's like vision board, and so I can't say that this version of Lena would want to have tea with me and watch the Great British Bake Off, but she probably would want to tell me about the Kennedy assassination, and I would still have tea and listen to that.
I would be into conspiracy theory, Lena, so much. I would hang out with her. But yeah, she's kind of letting it loose. She's like half tucked in. So she's very casual.
She's got like the have you ever watched, it's on Netflix, The New Queer Eye? There's one guy, every time he makes over somebody, he gives them what he calls like the French tuck, which is just like you tuck in the front of the shirt and then like you leave the back out. And now I'm wondering if she had like just seen Tan from Queer Eye and he was like, girl, you got to tuck in half of that shirt, but leave the rest free.
That is a look. We did get a resurgence of the ice cream dress several times this season.
One of my favorites.
So good.
I feel like that dress is iconic now. It's an iconic Lena ice cream dress.
Yeah, very recognizable, beloved dress. I haven't noticed though, is the so we have a shot here in this PowerPoint. If you're listening to this in the audio, you might want to go to supergirlradio.com. I'm going to have the PDF posted so that you can look at all these slides, or if you're watching live or watching this later on YouTube or Facebook, you can see these images. But is there like a slit at the top where her shoulder is? So there's like the pink sort of strawberry part.
It's like there's like the pink strawberry part, and then there's like a little slit, and then the white part starts.
I've never noticed that before.
I guess she just needs to let her shoulders breathe occasionally.
Very
like, these are so powerful that sometimes they just need a little break, just a little slice of air.
So this was another Lena look, a little boring. She's kind of hanging out, catching up on lunch, working on some Excel spreadsheets. She happens to run into Kara. So that was kind of a toned down Lena look. This I thought was a nice like purple Luthorian dress. She's just kind of hanging out at her house, I guess, wearing. So I thought that was a nice look. I wasn't crazy about this look.
What? Yeah, no.
Very, very
it's like very baggy,
and the colors are very subdued. Not
very
not a lot
muted.
Of,
yeah.
Lots of greens though. I noticed for Lena this season. I don't know if that was a connection to Pencil Skirt, who loves green.
I was about to say, are we supposed to read into something? Is it supposed to be like a Pencil Skirt connection?
So Lena did have some good like power suits this season. I thought this was a notable one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Where she's sort of watching the I think the VR take on her mom playing with her as a kid. So I think this sort of reminded me of Katie McGrath talking about how she was looking at what's her face, Kate Blanchett suits. I feel like this is a very Kate Blanchett suit. Another casual Lena look.
Oh, casual Lena. Jeans even.
Jeans.
Lena. So casual. Jeans at home? Girl. What are you, a farmer?
Let's see. Here's another Luthorian purple suit. Not crazy about the hair personally, but
yeah, the hair is a little bit much. As like the makeup's a little too dark. I think it's kind of clashing with the suit.
But I mean, the suit itself is. I think that the vest is kind of cool. So we had a lot of good coats this season.
Yes, quality coats.
Yeah, she had a good looks
She's
warm.
going
in
to the fortress. Yeah, so she has to come correct.
She has to come warm and also to make it so that she can really lash out at Kara. She needed to be comfortable for that one. A lot of purple Luthorian suits. I don't know if this is the same one from the other episode. I think it's a little bit different.
I like this one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good one.
She also has her hair back a lot. Like I feel like during the lab scenes, and like when she's like working on her like Nano Cherry, she's like, I've got to pull my hair back. But then like when she's just like casual, like hanging around the house, Lena, she's got her hair like loose.
Well,
Which is probably, it makes sense. Like in the lab, you probably
Yeah.
don't want your hair like in your face. But then again, we've seen some of the things that she wears in the lab. So.
I think a ponytail pulled back hair is like evil Lena. I think
so. I think she's like, I can't let my emotions out. I gotta pull them back.
So she did have some good vests. Here's another one from Crisis with the blues and the
I like
greens.
that. I like that.
I like that a lot. Here's another suit from the DEO commercial that she shot with Supergirl and Lex.
Oh boy,
it's fine. It's
there's a lot of like Photoshop going on in this.
Yeah, it's
commercial.
The effects are maybe not the
you would think
best
that the Luthors could afford better effects.
Here's another casual Lena look. She had a really cool purple sweater. It looked really comfortable.
Oh yeah, that does look comfy.
Yeah. So we got some more Lena. Sort of. I think this is a suit, but it might be a.
I feel like
it might be a skirt.
This is kind of like Lena's season 5 look was like a bold print shirt and then like a vest, like a black vest over it.
Yeah.
Or like a purple vest or like a maroon vest. It's like, I want to see her closet because I think she's like, and then this is my florals and then these are my vests.
Here's some more of those patterns and those prints. I like that though. I like her hair like that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I like the straight hair. This though, I think I might try to keep my mind open to more looks, but I think this is my favorite.
I think this is going to be the tops because she looks like Cruella de Vil in this.
she looks like a boss in this coat. I love it.
She does. She looks like this is a very Devil Wears Prada. I feel like she's gonna take that coat off and then just toss it in Eve's face.
I love it. She looks powerful and in charge with that Cruella de Vil purple Luthorian coat. So this might be my number one, but we'll keep going. So another like blue suit, a little boring for my taste.
Yeah, just kind of there.
But yeah, some more floral with a nice vest.
Her go-to look.
Her hair's down in the lab though.
Yeah, she's in the lab, but her hair's down.
That's a little different.
Surprising.
Mm-hmm. This is her testifying and not giving up Supergirl's secret identity in the 100th episode, all black, which is notable because
hair pulled back because she's keeping the secrets in.
Another purple Luthorian.
I looked at that really fast and I was like, are they dressed the same?
It almost sort of looks like it with the collars.
Like the collared shirt and the suit look is pretty funny.
Yeah, so that is a pretty good purple suit though. I like that with Lena. This is 100th episode.
Metallo
Lena. Yeah,
one of my favorites.
We will never see her again, but it was enjoyable while she lasted. This is another sort of floral,
another bold print with a vest. Her go-to season.
Yeah, it's very much the lab attire. This was the like go-go boot wearing.
Oh yeah,
60s.
this is a strange. I liked this one a lot actually. I like this outfit. She was wearing what looked like a fall for some reason in her hair. But she had like, and I think you can tell that she's kind of coming back around because she's got like it's like a boat neck, so she's got a little bit of shoulder showing, just a little bit. Like there's peeking back out. It's like, hey,
it is part of her character journey. Okay,
it is.
So,
Yeah.
So this one,
yes. So I think this is gonna be my boardroom or ball. Like the big coat was yours. This is gonna be my boardroom or ballroom favorite.
Interesting.
This is
why?
Yeah, I think it's it's just the Victorian ghost. This is her Victorian ghost #girl boss look, and I love it.
I forgot about the Victorian ghost. Yeah, that's a good look. Lena was in the prison, boardroom in the prison.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. Makes sense.
This is sort of
Her
when we
apology coat.
Yeah, we get to the finale with a coat. And then her casual Lena look.
And then so casual. You could tell that she's come back around to the good side because she's like, I don't need to be wearing a bold pattern and a and a vest right now. I don't need my hair pulled back. I'm just going to be open with you. I'm wearing jeans. How could you distrust me? I tucked in my jeans. That's how little I care.
So I think we've gotten through Lena's look for
amazing, great
for
looks.
season 5.
So many good ones.
But yeah, if you have some choices in the chat, let us know what your favorites are. I'm trying to see if we can pull up any of the comments from the chat. Let's see. I think people were going as we were going. Yeah. So Rachel says, I also forgot leopard print Lena. I think we all might have repressed that. I don't know. I don't remember.
Did we repress it, or were we like, or was it so amazing it just blew our minds? We couldn't deal with it. It was like the Holy Grail. We couldn't look right at it, or our faces would melt.
Dustin says, this podcast taught me that if I were ever to wear high heels, don't wear them in my evil lab. I didn't know high heels weren't something gals wore in labs, but it makes sense. Yeah, heels are not comfortable.
No.
If you
heels
wear them
aren't
for
something
long.
I wear ever if I can help it, but I certainly wouldn't in a lab.
They make you a little taller and they give you a little height, but they are not. I've never
cost.
Yeah, I've never found them to be comfortable, and I did not want to wear them more than 5 minutes.
No.
Yeah, so that's just a tip there. Let's see if there's anybody else with any comments. But yeah, so those are our picks for Lena's outfits this season. I went with the boss coat with the fur on it, and Morgan was going Victorian ghost.
Victorian ghost all the way. I have to. She was like she had the lace all the way up to her her neck, and then like a little blazer over it, because like just because you're a Victorian ghost doesn't mean you can't #seize the day. So don't stop the hustle, Lena, just because you're a Victorian ghost.
Yeah, so I think that's going to end it for Lena Luthor.
And this has been Lena Luthor, boardroom or ballroom.
Okay, so what were some of the highlights, Morgan, for you in season 5? Things that you look back on it and you think, well, even if I didn't really like the season as much, these are the things that stand out to me. If you were going to tell somebody like the things you liked about season 5, what would they be?
Okay, the things I liked about season 5. I liked the Win episodes. I thought those were really good. It was great to have Win back, and like it's funny because before those episodes, if you would ask me like how excited are you to have Win back, I would have been like little to little. But then he came back and I was like, Win! Yeah. Like I was so excited. It was like seeing an old friend that you haven't thought about in a while, and you're just like, buddy, how you doing? Don't leave. Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Don't leave us here with Leviathan. So I loved those episodes. I thought the 100th episode was really great. It was probably my favorite episode of the season. The crisis stuff was really fun, but again, I like when I think of Supergirl season 5, I'm probably I'm probably only going to think of Crisis as the thing that kind of messed up the season,
Yeah.
and not as like super, because it feels so much like its own thing. But I did enjoy Crisis like as an independent vehicle. Hope, obviously, my boy Rama Khan and his Rama wines.
Yes.
I liked where it seemed like they were. I liked Akrata and Andrea Rojas until the show decided that they didn't care about her anymore. Just kind of shoved her off into a corner making commercials. But I thought she was kind of intriguing in the beginning of the season. And I liked that episode with her and Lena, like going back in time and seeing them in their school days. And I thought that the young actresses they got to play both of them were really good. And I really like that episode. Like, I'm thinking about the episodes that I would go back and rewatch from this season. And I feel like it would be like the 100th episode, the Lena Luthor in the jungle episode.
Confidence women, yeah.
I would definitely rewatch the episode where Lena Luthor decides to commandeer a satellite with her good robot friend Hope. And she's like, and Hope is like, don't worry, Eve told me we can sacrifice ourselves. And Eve's like, what? That was a really good one. The premiere I thought was really strong and started the season out like really well. And I was really excited about where it seemed like they were going. I was a lot younger then, a lot more naive. What else did I like about? I like the Malefic stuff. I like that John Malefic stuff. I thought that was really good. I liked the Super Alex episode. I enjoyed that one a lot. And then that was I like the Nia episode, although I felt like there were periods of time where it was a little repeaty on certain certain things, but I like that episode overall. And then I think that's a big majority of it. I feel like a lot of the stuff this season worked for me a lot less than it did last season. And like last season, I didn't love we didn't love last season. I think it's fair to say. But I got what last season was going for a lot more than I get what this season was going for. And some of that, and I think that there were certainly some hardships that this season had to kind of overcome. And one of them was COVID-19, which
was a worldwide pandemic.
that little worldwide pandemic. But the other thing was Crisis. And I think the combination of Crisis and coronavirus really hobbled this season. But I can't blame it all on either of those things, because a lot of the problems I think came from focusing on two villains that didn't really work for the show. And one was Leviathan, who was not interesting or scary enough, and the other was Lex, who just turned out to take over the whole season and was actually too competent. Like, I think when you have a character on the show like Brainy, whose whole thing is supposed to be that he is smart, and then you have Lex outsmart him like on every turn, like there is no way in which Brainy was even like close to like remotely winning. And then at the end, like when he's like holding the like little bottle that like Khan and Ramakan and the Khanettes are in, and it's like, what was his plan? He was dying in that room. Was his plan to just die with the bottle in his hand? How did he not foresee somebody walking up and going, whoops, there it is? And so to me, it was like, I don't blame the character for that. I blame the writing for that. Like, I feel like poor Brainy has gotten a lot of it. Poor Alex has also gotten a lot of that inconsistent writing where, I don't really know I don't know what her arc this season was. It felt like there was some good stuff about her leaving the DEO and trying to figure out what she was going to do from there. But I mean, I don't know how much I love her weird kiss superhero look that she's committed to. Yeah, I think this season was just a little bit too all over the map for me. I feel like there were like high highs and there were low lows, and there wasn't like, it just felt like this, like it was just too choppy. But like some of the stuff that I really liked. Like I really liked the 100th episode, and I really liked when a lot of the Car and Lena scenes, like individually, I really liked. And I liked like the John and Malefic stuff. I thought that was really strong. And then John felt like he didn't get anything to do until Magan came at the end.
Magan was like, "Here, I'm come to bring you a storyline."
Hello, it is I, the storyline fairy.
Yeah, I had very, very few highlights. I was trying to think of some things that are just specific things to point out. Obviously, Hope. The ending to the second episode of the season, Stranger Beside Me, was like the most I had been excited about, like a cliffhanger ending on Supergirl in a long time.
Yes.
I was like, that was the one where I was like, Morgan, don't spoil yourself. It's so good. You do not want to be spoiled for this ending. Because I remember, I just dropped my mouse.
That's how excited you were for that ending.
It crashed on the ground. This is all live. I just dropped my mouse and I cannot, well, I can still use touchpad. But I just remember thinking like this ending was so good. Like I'm so excited because they're like taking a risk. I wasn't expecting that. And then it didn't really happen again for much of the season. So that I think that was the potential of what the show can do, is to have like an ending where it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. So that I thought was a highlight. I was surprised when I went back to listen to some of our episodes on the season, just to sort of refresh my brain, is that we talked about how Lex's burn book, that burn book he wrote about Superman,
yes.
it actually became a plot point with the cipher code for Non-Necheri. And I was like,
that's right.
That was so good because it was such a small thing in season 4, but they brought it back and it resurfaced into something that mattered in the series. And so I really liked that. I thought that was a good highlight. I also really liked seeing Kara. The one time she investigated something, she flew down to Mexico City to investigate part of a story, related to Leviathan. So I really did like that.
Yeah, I like that.
I wish they had done more of that with Kara, just to
I feel like the whole season was hinged on a shady organization. That's the season you can do a lot of Kara investigation stuff, and so the fact that they didn't is sort of disappointing. But like, yeah, when they have her investigate stuff, I'm always really excited for those kind of episodes.
Yeah, I wish they had done more with Kara investigating like that, because I thought that was cool. She got to do something not too international. I mean, she didn't go too far, but she got to do something outside of the United States. She got to investigate something, because Supergirl, it feels like sometimes Supergirl is very, and we've talked about this a million times, it feels so condensed into National City. And Supergirl is a character who could fly around the world. She can go anywhere. So
what's going on Argo? Yeah. What about that evil gazebo? We'll never know.
We need a follow-up. What is the gazebo doing now that the multiverse has been rebooted? Is it different now?
Exactly. Is it even larger? Is it a pergola now? I don't know. We could find out. But I mean, to your point, like honestly, right at this point, everyone's a superhero. Like all of her friends are superheroes. So like, she really could just go like zoom off and like have an adventure on like a different planet or with aliens or something, and just like bring her superhero friends along and like, I don't know, give Alex like a helmet, like an astronaut helmet or something, or maybe her eyeshadow magically allows her to breathe on different planets. Who knows? I would believe anything. But like, yeah, she can, like, the world of Supergirl is so small and it can be so large.
Yeah, and they did it a little bit with that when we were talking about Lena's wardrobe and talking about how Kara flew to Paris to, pick up some things to eat for Lena. Like, she can do those things. She can go to Paris. She can go to Mexico City. She can go anywhere. So I wish that we could see a bigger picture.
Yeah, just Supergirl. Like redress Vancouver as Paris and off you go. It's just chilly this time of year in Paris, and
that would be really cool to see like a Supergirl story in Paris, like for half a season or something.
I mean, I don't think that they should be afraid of doing episodes that are like an all Supergirl episode where Kara just goes off and has an adventure. Like
all Supergirl episode? What?
Like, I think we all love the ensemble on this show. I think that it's full of a lot of really good actors and a lot of really good characters. But I think, we can have like an episode that's all Supergirl. We had an episode that was all Lena and Andrea Rojas. Like, there can be an all Supergirl episode where she just like goes off and has an adventure in Europe or something, or like, gets a call and goes to Argo to like, go, like, she doesn't have to be so nailed down to National City and to the rest of the ensemble. Like, they'll all be back in the next episode. She can go off and have like a single episode, jaunt by herself.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that so much.
Because it feels like some of the side characters actually get those spotlight episodes. Nia had one, Alex had one, Lena had one. Like, Kara it feels like the only one who didn't have a spotlight episode in her own show.
I think even Jean had stuff with Malefic. They did flashbacks to that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Kelly did have Kelly had a whole character come in just to interact with her with Samwise.
Yeah,
Rudy came in.
I still liked my theory that Rudy was going to be like the ultimate evil in Leviathan.
That would be so good.
That would have been so amazing.
Yeah,
bring it back.
But that's such a good point, though, that like all of those characters had episodes focused on them. But I mean, Kara had the 100th episode, but she's also the main lead on the show. Like, it should be more.
And even, I mean, I think you can argue that the 100th episode was more about her friendship with Lena than it was anything about her individually. Like, which I had no problem with. It was what was going on this season, and like Lena's a long-standing character, and that friendship is like really important to the show. And so I have no problems with that being the topic of the 100th episode. But like, she didn't get any. I didn't feel like she ever got an episode where like Kara was just having her day.
Yeah. Yvette says, let's see. No, this is what I'm trying to pull up. Kara should need a spotlight episode because the series should be focused on her. I think that's exactly how it should be. I agree. I think that should be the default for the stories, that most episodes should be focused on Supergirl, and anything we get outside of that should be extra. So I think a lot of our listeners posted something like that. Miriam said focusing on an episode on your lead character, too much of a wild concept.
Yeah, we don't want to go crazy here.
Don't get crazy. But yeah, I think that's something I would like to see more of in season 6, is more stories about Kara. That would be my preference. All right, so we need to land a number on this season, and then I think we should rank the seasons. So this is going to be tough. We're really going to have to get in here. So I thought we might steal what Bill Meeks and Anne-Marie DeSimone used to do with the Legends of Gotham podcast. Mm-hmm. We're going to do an arbitrary scale. So my scale is out of 5 murderous robot friends, how many murderous robot friends would you give Supergirl season 5?
Ooh, this is tough, because I feel like just having talked about this season, that I'm being way too harsh on this season, and I don't want to make it seem like I don't enjoy Supergirl, the television show. But to be honest, I did not enjoy Supergirl, the season 5 of the television show, all that much. So I think I would give this season 2 murderous robot friends out of 5 murderous robot friends. I mean, honestly, they could have really saved it all if Hope had played a significant.
Yes!
They threw me a bone by having Eve kill Jeremiah Danvers. I mean, that probably should give it like a 2.5. But I'm gonna go solid 2. I think 0.5s are cheating.
You are a little nicer than I am. I am going to go 1.5.
Oh,
I know I'm cheating with the 0.5, but I'm going to be really hard on this season. I can't blame everything on COVID-19. There were choices made in this season, things they could have done and that they didn't.
Had already gone off the tracks by the time we got to the global pandemic.
There were choices made, and a lot of them weren't really good. Paula says Rebecca with the red pen. Yeah. So I've got to go a little harsh on that. So I think 1.5. I think 2. I think Honestly, I think that's fair.
I'm scrolling through the chat and I'm not seeing anything over a 3. So I feel like
so yeah, Donna
we're
gives it a
not
3.
being
Mark gives
unfair.
it a 3. Laura gives it a 3. Kanisha says 2.75 murders robot friends. Abby says 2 because it is below average for me. Paula says 2 out of 5. Emma says 2.5. Let's see. Rachel says 3 murders robot friends. Yvette says 3. So yeah, I think that the consensus, what I'm gathering, and I don't know if this is just a Supergirl radio bubble that we're in, but
it's possible.
And that is very possible.
However, I feel like I've been on Twitter, and
which is your first mistake.
I've looked into the void and it's looked back at me. But I feel like at least the people I follow on Twitter have not been overwhelmingly happy with the season. So I feel like it's not like, I think that's the consensus, is that this was a very kind of season.
Yeah, I think that for me, if I was going to consult the showrunners on, here's what fans got out of this, I would say that I think a lot of the problems stem from the approach to the season about like starting with the theme and then trying to get everybody around the theme and then not focusing on Kara. I think if the show, you can correct the show in like a couple of short ways, and a lot of it starts with just making Kara the focus. So I think those are really quick, easy fixes.
Because like I watch some of the other shows, and like I never watched a Flash season where it didn't feel like Barry was the main character on the Flash. Like, I'm like 2 seasons behind, but and even Batwoman, where I was never a huge fan of the main character of that show, I never felt like, Kate Kane wasn't the main character on Batwoman. But for Supergirl, it really does feel like sometimes she's just in the background. Like, she's not not everything is revolving around her character. So I think just like centering Supergirl in Supergirl, I think would be a huge improvement.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would think that would be a better choice. It is interesting in our comments. People are rating Supergirl Radio season 5. So Dustin says he gives the show a 1.5, but a 5 thinks Supergirl Radio.
Yay!
And then Paula gives it a 10 out of 10 for the Ramacon Ramaline.
So, I mean, what was it? Earth-shattering flavor in every bottle.
you can buy a Ramacon Rama Wine shirt on our,
and I would highly recommend it.
Highly recommend. So thank you for rating Supergirl Radio season 5. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think what I find, Morgan, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but even when I dislike a season or dislike an episode, I think Supergirl Radio, at least this is going to be totally biased, but I enjoy the show a lot more because of our conversations and because of the feedback we get from the listeners.
No, I agree. Like, I feel like if we hadn't like made jokes out of a lot of these aspects of season 5, they wouldn't actually be on my like top list. Like, would I have been as obsessed with Hope if we weren't talking about her like every week and I wasn't doing the stupid robot voice? Or like, would I love Rama Khan as much as I did if we didn't come up with Rama Khan's Rama wines, or like Rama Khan's whole deal, the Khanettes? Like, I think some of those jokes actually lent the season like more interest to me than I think if I was just watching on the couch at home and I didn't have those. Like, there were some times when like a joke would pop up and I would just like flip out and I'd be so excited about it, and didn't have anything to do with the show. So I do think that the podcast did help my enjoyment of the television show.
Yeah, I think it does add to my enjoyment personally. So thank you to Morgan and the listeners for helping me get through season 5. I don't know if I would have made it if it hadn't been for the podcast. All right, so now I think we should rate our seasons. So I think there are 2 ways to approach season rankings. I think we should go for let's go for favorite seasons first. So your number 1 is going to be like your top. Mm-hmm. So because favorite and best are a totally different animal.
So we're going to do favorite season and then best season.
Best season. Best in terms of like quality, if you were going to like recommend it, but favorite, like the one that like you want to rewatch the most. So start with favorite.
Okay. So I'm doing my favorite season from like 1 to 5, basically.
Yeah, like your top to your bottom.
Okay. Yeah. Favorite season. I think so. I really had to look into my heart about the favorite season, because there were some tough ones. Because I will say, it was between 1 and 2. And what does 1 have to recommend it? It has Livewire. It has a budget, and it and it has Cat Grant. But what is it missing? My girl Lena Luthor, who's in 2. But so is Mon-El, like a lot. And so so it was a struggle. But so I'm gonna go 2, 1, 3, 4, and 5.
I think that's fair. I would probably put season 3 at the top, because of all the season 3, the end of it sort of like it like went down.
I remember we were riding real high on season 3 into like the last chunk of like the middle, like those like middle, like it was like 13 to like 17 or something crazy like that, where it was like suddenly we were like, what's happening?
You could tell it had shifted showrunners, like something happened, but
it was like it was riding smooth, being really good, and then all of a sudden it was like turbulence.
So season 3, for the most part, I would say that the season 3 episodes are the ones I go back and rewatch the most. That had Midvale, the Legion of Superheroes,
so good,
Livewire's death, Streaky. Not the super cat, but the cat. It had a lot of good Kara moments. I think that was the introduction of Psy. Like there were so many good moments in season. I also had Rain and the World Killers. So that for me is my favorite. Then I would go season 1, because season 1 had a lot of comic book elements and, like you said, Cat Grant, and a lot of good standalone episodes. Then I would go season 2, and then. This is going to shock everybody because of my rating that I just gave with the Robot Friends. But then I would say season 5, and only because of the podcast, because I had so much fun discussing the show this season on the podcast. I think I enjoyed the podcasting, although I always enjoy the podcasting, but I think I enjoyed podcasting about season 5.
I think we had
more than I did season 4.
We might have had funnier, like, long running jokes this season. I think, and I'll be honest, like this is gonna sound like a backhanded compliment. Like, I think the podcast was funnier because we were like struggling with like what to like this season. So we just clung on to like we've always clung on to the minor characters, but I feel like we clung on with a vise grip this season. Like before we were like, oh, Brian the alien, you scamp, and this season we were like, Ramakan, oh, come
better. Yeah, I would agree. So for best season, did we go best season?
I think that was our favorite, right? So now we're doing best?
Because it could change.
Best season. I feel like for best season, probably 1, 3, 2, and then 4, 5. Because I think that 3, like you said, 3 had that rough patch where admittedly the show was going through some major changes because of some behind the scenes drama. But the beginning of the show and then like the end was so strong. I think that it kind of made up for the middle turbulent patch. And then the one I felt was really consistent throughout, even though it wasn't like, I felt like as strong of a, I felt like the villains, while they were good in season 1, were not like Lillian Luthor, Queen Rhea good.
Yeah.
But I think that they were more personal to Supergirl. And I also think that like having Cat Grant around was such a good character, and kind of grounded it in like Kara had a real superhero life and she had a real work life, and they both kind of revolved around Kara. I think season 1 Supergirl was the version of the show that was most about Supergirl. Maybe. I
think your arguments are making me change my order a little bit. Because initially I had season 2 as number 1 because I know it was the Mon-El season, but for me, I think season 2 was the most consistent in terms of like the story it wanted to tell. Started with the pod, ended with the pod. And
well, it's funny, as I was talking about like the villains, and I was like, am I sure I want to put season 2 at the third position? I feel like for me, season 1, 2, and 3 are so close in terms of quality
yeah,
that like it's hard to like rate them. Like I think I might actually swap and do 1, 2, 3. Actually, just do them as they were, literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like just, which is a shame because it means that every year that the show gets a little worse.
Well, I would put season 2 initially I had it 2, 3, 1, but I think I'm going to go 2, 1, 3 because you made some really good points about how season 1 was Kara centric. It was about her journey as the character, finding herself as Supergirl. So I would go season 2 because I liked the Mon-El storyline because it went somewhere. It gave Kara somewhere to go. It, she grew as a character by the end of the season, I thought, and it had some great villains, scenery chewing villains. Season 1, I did like for the comic book aspect, and I thought it did a good job with Kara as a character. Season 3, solid episodes all around. Season 4, it got better towards the end, but it wasn't a great start, and it didn't have the villains were kind of lacking, and that's why Lex had to come in. And season 5 just, whew.
I mean, at least season 4 we had like Manchester Black, who I thought like the actor was really good, and I thought he was at least like a compelling anti-hero, anti-villain kind of mashup where he like you could relate to him. And then obviously my boy Hat.
Yeah, Hat's Hat. Season 4.
Hat and his hat. Hat's hat did come back this season.
It did.
Which felt like a specific shout out for me.
it was a major plot point in the 100th episode.
It was. Oh, the 100th episode really did have it all.
It was giving us everything. It really was.
It was.
Let's see what some of the chat says. So Mark says for favorites 3. I guess 3, 1, 2, 4, 5. So 5 is at the bottom. Claudia says favorite is season 3. Rachel says 3, 1, 5. Oh, 5. Interesting. In the middle there for 2. 2's at the bottom. That's an interesting choice.
2 at the bottom.
Interesting.
I mean, that's where we got introduced to Lena Luthor. That's where we had Lillian Luthor and Queen Rhea as our main villains. Brian the Alien.
Cat did come back.
That came back. We had Brian the Alien.
We had President Wonder Woman.
He never snapped.
Yeah, he never did. He never just
Not
put it
once.
at the bottom because Snapper never snapped.
That's my headcanon on why she chose that. She was like, Snapper never snapped. How dare he?
You go to the bottom. So Kanisha says faves 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. Let's see. Rachel says for best 1, 3, 2, 5, 4. I guess we can't go through all these, but I'll try. Paula says 3, 1, 2, 4, 5. So there's another 5 at the bottom. Interesting. Donna says 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Ooh, 2's at the bottom. I'm interested.
I'm interested in why 2 is. Is it just Mon-El? Do you think that's the reason why 2 is at the bottom for so many people?
I will say that I think season 2 is the season that a lot of people started dropping the show.
I think so. Yeah.
Because I think some of our stats kind of reflect that. So I wonder if season 2 is really hard to watch for some people. Let's see. Mark says for best 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. Let's see. Emma says 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. Leslie says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So kind of in that same order.
Yeah.
Laura says 3, 1, 4, 2, 5.
I think it's tough because for the first 3 seasons, there's a lot of good stuff, and there's like a lot of stuff I didn't enjoy as much. But the good stuff is like every time I'm like, well, season 2, I didn't love how kind of Mon-El started to take over the show, and it like the love stuff like storyline. But then I'm like, Lena, that's Lena's first season, and also the villains were so good. And then like every time I'm like, season 3 got like inconsistent, but I was like, but Rain was so great. And like, I think that those early seasons had a lot going for them, even if they had some like rocky patches. The problem is like the last 2 seasons have been like the converse, where I'm like, yeah, I remember I liked those 1 or 2 episodes, and also there was a guy named Hat, and he had a hat.
Yeah, so I do think 2 is probably affected by Monel a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is funny. There's the question, is Rebecca feeling Mon positive? I was mostly Mon positive for most of the run of Monel, except for the end of season 3. That's when it like imploded, like the scale just exploded. It was not great. But I mean, he came back with a beard and it was fine.
Yeah, the beard. I think the beard helps me in my Mon rating, where I was like, okay, we can work with this. He started going towards the positive side. Then he started maybe having a love triangle while he was married, and then right back to the negative.
Not great. So I guess that's gonna do it for our kind of look back at season 5 and our retrospective and seeing what we thought about the season, how did it land for us, and kind of talking it out with the listeners. I think it is very interesting though to get a lot of varied opinions about it in terms of where the season might fall, because I think it does. My rankings at least shift a little bit, but not too much. So I think at this point, at least the show only has room to go up. Like I don't know how much. I don't want to say that. Like how much worse could it get? I don't want to put that out there. I think it has room to improve and room to go up. So
yeah,
I hope
there was
that
a lot. There was a lot I did enjoy about season 5, but it was so inconsistent that I'm hoping that when they regroup, and they're probably going to have a nice long hiatus to really like look back at the season, see what worked, see what didn't work, and like hopefully come back strong and refocused on Kara. And like I would just love some Danvers sister stuff too. Like I feel like that's one of the aspects of the show that has really kind of hit the skids, and like we don't see them, like the Danvers sisters, just hanging out or having storylines about the two of them that often. So I'd love to get back to that kind of stuff for next season.
Yeah, I think if they regroup and kind of look at what made the show exciting or popular to begin with, I think would be good. Morgan, let's go through some. We have 2 emails we should probably get to really quickly to kind of go back into some of our listeners' thoughts about the season. So I'm going to start, and we're going to look at an email from Joseph who writes, quote, "What can I say about this season overall? Well, let's get the strings. Lena and Kara's story was the best part of the season, no question. The Jean and Malefic story was also very good. Goes to show they can still make his character and stories interesting after all these years because of all the unknown history. Andrea Rojas was a great character in the first half, and then she stagnated. A bit of a mixed bag for her, but I'll consider her character in the good part. Lex's story and character are always good as well, and John Cryer is always having a ball with this role. Another positive is that there is a continual theme of the season, something that season 4 lacked. Just going through those from the first 3 seasons, there were clear themes. Season 1, identity. Season 2, finding a place in the world and not judging a book by its cover, particularly as family relations are concerned. Season 3, being okay with how circumstances in life treat you, along with the importance and dangers of faith and belief. Season 4, difference is good most of the time, and racism and prejudice is bad. And he says, see the difference? With this season, I think the theme is the strengths and weaknesses of relationships. Lena's story especially wraps us all nice in a little bow alone. But Lex also demonstrates this with his refusal to let people in without manipulation, which leaves him with no one who is loyal to a fault. Even Nia and Brainy kind of show the importance of the toxicity of needing romance relationships. And goes on to say, and James's exit and Wynn's return were great. The bad stuff is that Leviathan doesn't amount to much, along with the virtual reality story, though the latter serves theme. They could have done something different to get the same thing across. Most things I didn't like, I would qualify as more lackluster than bad. Can I say that this is my favorite season? No, I'm not sure what fan would. I'm a little fearful that the prime of the show has passed, but if they turn out like this season and not season 4, we'll still have good seasons, just not great ones. For me, I will still say season 3 is still the top for me, and season 1 will always have a special place for its standalone nature, but I think that this season is, but I think I might like this season more than the second season. If nothing else, Lena and Kara's story might be enough to rank it higher. So there's a lot of explanation into the season choices here. Do I even need to say season 4 is the least favorite? There are good things in season 5, but certainly not not one where I rewatch the entire season again. All in all, glad the season has a great middle and end, just a rough middle, unquote. So good thoughts there.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff. So Susan wrote in with some season 5 thoughts, writing, seems to me there is one main thing that has changed between season 1 and season 5 that is responsible for most of my frustrations with the more recent seasons. Season 1 was a show with a strong female lead, Supergirl / Kara Danvers, and everything revolved around or connected to that character in some way. Now it seems like they have turned it into a giant ensemble. For example, all the characters in season 1 had some connection to or were defined by their relationship to Kara. Alex was her sister and primary emotional support, the person Kara turned to when she needed grounding. Wynn was the tech nerd, but also Kara's best friend, and occasionally guy who had a crush on her and figurative little brother to Alex. James was a moral center for Kara, who has a history with Clark and briefly a Kara love interest. Kat was Kara's boss. Hank Jean was a potential villain, mentor, and father figure to Kara. Each of these characters existed to support Kara's / Supergirl's story in some way. That allowed the show to center on Kara, with everyone else having some stories and character development, but not too much was necessary because they were there to be supporting players. It was a show about a strong female hero and those supporting her, and that structure left room for the show to be about her. And now we have an ensemble with a bunch of characters that seem to exist in their own space. Surfacing each of them takes time away from Supergirl / Kara, but there are so many of them that everyone seems to get short shrift. And because the universe of characters isn't built around their connection to or relationship to Kara, servicing them also takes time away from what the show is supposed to be about, Supergirl. This season has gone even further, with the show almost turning into a show about Lex. John Cryer is a wonderful Lex Luthor, but a show centered around a male villain is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, so some good thoughts there. I think it echoes a lot of what we've said and what the chat has said regarding, just focus on Kara, and I think the show will be a little better. So I think that that's a good email there from Susan. So thank you all for writing in and sharing your thoughts. I think we had maybe a few snap judgments before we end this live stream. So I guess maybe we could. Do you want to do a few snap judgments? If y'all have them in the chat, make sure you leave them. So I guess we can do some snap judgments here.
Yeah,
and we'll do them in a second. In the game of snap judgments, each person is presented with 2 options, but must only choose one. First instincts are recommended and explanations are unnecessary. Okay, sorry the sound effects might be a little choppy on the live stream.
it sounded good to me.
That sounds pretty good. I kind of, I wanted to linger a little bit, and fade out. But it's kind of hard to do on this format. Okay, so Paula says, if you could build an entire season off of one half of season 5, which half would it be? 5A or 5B? So I guess if you wanted to continue a story, which one would you want to continue? The first half or the second half?
First half. I think definitely. The first half felt coherent to me in a way that the second half really didn't.
Yeah, the 5A part of season 5 was going somewhere. It felt like it had a trajectory, like it had something going, and it was building and building and building. And then when we came back after Crisis, it was like, what's happening anymore? I don't even know.
It felt like it was like full steam ahead to something, and then we hit Crisis, and then afterwards it was like
so Leslie says, best use of Supergirl's sonic clap versus Overgirl. Let's see. I guess the choices are, I'm trying to see if I can read this correctly. Overgirl in Crisis on Earth X, or against the Prisoners in Crime and Punishment, or the Monkeys in Back from the Future Part 2, or against Earth, Wind, and Fire in Immortal Combat. I think the one that stands out most to me is the one from Crisis on Earth X. I remember that one very vividly. So I'd probably say the one against Overgirl.
That was such a good one. I do remember the monkey one really well though. So I'm gonna go monkeys. I like. Oh,
interesting. Hot take. All right. So I think Crisis on Earth X, I think, was the first time we saw her do it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Somebody will have to fact check me, but I think that was the first one. Okay, Mark says, when the show finally ends, will its epitaph be a quote, hope, 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 or quote, yeah, they never really went anywhere with that either, unquote. Which one would you pick?
I guess I hope it's hope, hope, hope. like the first one is like hope, like Lena, like Cara, but then the next one is hope, hope.
I think for me, I would pick, yeah, they never really went anywhere with that either. I think that's probably how I'd probably remember the show at the end of it. Okay, Abby says, oh, I lost Abby's. Oh, I can pull them up. Rebecca, put them up on the screen. What are you doing? Okay, so Abby says, would you rather have a mini series of Hope or Ramacon? If you could have your own like custom Supergirl mini series, would you focus it on Hope the AI or Ramacon?
So there's so many stories you can tell on either of those miniseries, and I am going to be pitching both of them very aggressively. But I think the Hope miniseries, it's like the miniseries to me is that it's a murderous robot who slowly learns to love, but then still wants to kill Supergirl. So it's like she's like, I have made friends. Let's all kill Supergirl, friends. And they're like, no, we've talked to you about this.
The idea of Ramacon's history is really intriguing to me. Like seeing where like he went throughout history. What was he doing? Why did someone paint a painting of him? Why is he so important? So there's part of me that wants to know about that, but I think I would watch the Hope miniseries so much more.
Yeah.
I think I would want to actually watch it.
Both intriguing though. That Ramacon miniseries would be like, I feel like it would be like the Tudors or something. Like you'd be like going back in time. It'd have to be on like HBO or something. It'd be like a set piece.
Yeah,
big budget. I want to watch the big budget Ramacon miniseries. And then at the end, it's like it's him on his like porch with his glass of wine. He's like, what a story, huh? Like right to the camera. or he like starts it that way. Have you ever seen like the Masterpiece like theater when they have like an actor start it and they're like, this next story, and that's how each episode begins, is Ramacon on his porch and he's like, this next one you're not gonna believe.
I like that. I think the Hope miniseries would be more like a 1980s sitcom, almost like a Small Wonder type show. So that's what I would want to watch.
I love it.
I would be into that. Let's see. Abby says, best pants supersuit, Supergirls or Alex?
I'm going to go Supergirls because it doesn't have a hood or any weird eyeshadow involved.
I think I would say Supergirls as well. Let's see. Let's see. Paula says, using your instincts, is the current Lena Luthor originally from Earth Prime turned evil by Lex's compelling storytelling, or is she from another Earth?
I think it was just such a compelling story, and she's just been waiting her whole life to like unleash that dark side. Like the dark side is just like gently tapped down by like pastels, and then it just like as soon as he was like, "Hey, mom's in another Earth, you're evil," she's like, "Of course I am."
Yeah, I think she turned evil because of his compelling storytelling. I think she was waiting for it all her life. All right, so I guess this is the last one we're going to do. So Claudia asks, William, yay or nay?
I got to give you a nay on that one. In every possible way that you could read into that, in that, like, I'm not a big fan of William, but also if he's a horse.
I need to get like a horse sound effect. That's the next sound effect. I need to create a William is comment sound bumper. I could have been yay, but they didn't handle it very well on all levels. So I'm going to say nay.
Like the show is nay on William, doesn't it? Like the show doesn't care.
Yeah, it's sad because he could be a good character and they could have a good storyline for him, but they just never seem to be invested in it. So I think we're probably going to have to wrap it up on Snap Judgments here. So I'll play a little sound effect and get us out of it, and then we'll wrap this puppy up in a little bow. No judgments on your snap judgments. All right, that is going to do it for our look back at Supergirl Season 5, the highs and the lows and everything in between. If you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can go to our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. And please do that before Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's when we kind of gather everything up. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, where we also have a Spotify musical playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the show. We're also on Radio Public and Podchaser, and you can find us on DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. And we're available on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher Radio. So if you have some time and you haven't done it already, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review over there. And you can find everything that I just mentioned on supergirlradio.com on the right side of the page. And Morgan, I figured since we're live, maybe we should do the DC TV plugs live.
Sure. Yes, let's do that. I've been preparing since the last DC TV plugs I had to do, where, to be fair, I didn't do such a great job. I forgot a lot of podcasts, and I said Black Lightning twice, and I stand by that. You should listen to those episodes twice.
I think I made you say Black Lightning twice because I didn't hear you say
that was my
first
favorite part, where I was just like, Black Lightning. Okay, so we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna
do it.
I've been prepared. I've taken some time off, spent some time with my family, and I'm back. I'm back for these plugs. All right. Now, if you'd like to listen to any of the other podcasts on the DC TV network, you can listen to the Flash podcast, Supergirl Radio, which is this podcast right here that you're listening to currently, Legends of Tomorrow podcast, which I'm on, the Black Lightning podcast, which you should listen to twice, Titans podcast, Batwoman podcast. I caught up on Batwoman, so listen to that podcast. Stargirl podcast, it just started, so you don't have much to listen to. Superman and Lois Radio, it hasn't started at all, so you can catch up real fast. Green Lantern podcast, again, hasn't started. And Strange Adventures podcast, which I don't even know what that is. You should listen to all of those podcasts, all of them, all the time. And if you want to listen to all of them, you can subscribe to the DC TV Podcast mega feed. You can follow DC TV Podcast on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I'm sure that they have all of those.
Yeah, they do. They do. We got a lot of requests for the Hope voice.
I'm sorry. You should listen to the DC TV podcasts. There you go. There you go.
And we should remind everybody that we're going to have a fundraiser event coming up on June 20th. So you can go check out that information at dctvpodcast.com/fundraiser. That's got links to how to donate to the charity that we're raising money for, Feeding America. It also has the schedule of all of our shows at what time everyone is podcasting. Supergirl Radio is going to be the penultimate hour before the assembly hour. A fair warning, I don't think Morgan is going to be able to join me for that hour. She's got other things going on. She's got things to do.
It's tough. It's my fiance's birthday, so I can't really like bail.
I mean,
like, what better birthday gift is there than him watching me podcast all day? I think that's my gift to him.
Definitely understandable. So,
he could just sit in the corner and clap when I tell a funny joke.
But we'll still have a good time. We'll do our annual Supergirl Radio Awards. So definitely come by and join us for that at mixler.com/DCTV podcast. It'll be a lot of fun, and we'll raise some money and have a good time that day. All right. Well, you can follow me on Twitter. Oh no, this is an old doc I copied from.
You can't follow her on Twitter. Not even if you want to.
I just realized I copied this from the season 4 retrospective.
Try.
I was like, oh no, this is not correct.
You're sending people astray, Rebecca. They're going to be on Twitter like, I don't see her.
You can follow me on Twitter at Supergirl Radio is where I am currently on Twitter doing things. I'm a voice actress on The Fakest, so if you want to go check out The Fakest and listen to that if you haven't already. I'm also a contributor to the Justice League Universe podcast. Going to record a Birds of Prey commentary tomorrow, I think. So look out for that. So those are kind of the other podcasting things I'm working on. So definitely check me out on Instagram at the Derby Kid if you want to keep in touch with me.
Nice. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mojotastic. You can also find my cats. My cats have an Instagram because that's who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. And they're at the Lab Cats. They're very cute. They're kittens. They're tiny kittens. But you can also find me as a co-host on the Legends of Tomorrow podcast, which we've been doing some fun stuff for this season of Legends of Tomorrow, including bringing on listeners. We do like a spotlight now on listeners every week, which is super fun. We've had so many cool listeners come on. So definitely you should check that out. If you watch the show, that's great. If you don't watch the show, guess what? We still want you on board.
You don't have to watch the show. You can just watch the podcast. It's totally fine.
Like, we're gonna have such a long hiatus, and that podcast is gonna get real weird. So I think now is the time to jump on.
Now, I mean, because you're not going to be able to watch the show, even if you could.
You're gonna
have to just listen to the podcast.
There's gonna be no other choice.
So so definitely check out the Legends of Tomorrow podcast. I'm a big fan, and I think everyone else should be as well. Well, I think that is going to wrap us up. And even though season 5 of Supergirl is over, I mean, we wrapped up the finale. We went and took a look back at the season. Season 5's over, but hang out with Supergirl Radio this summer and for ever how long that you need to hang out with us, because we're going to have lots of content coming your way in Supergirl Radio season 5.5, which could last for a long time. So, but hang out with us. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things in season 5.5. I think we're going to be playing some Jeopardy. We're going to be talking to some people who are doing some cool things in the fandom. And we're going to be reading some comics. We're going to be doing all sorts of cool stuff. So hang out with us in season 5.5. But until then, I'm still Rebecca Johnson.
I'm still Morgan Glennon.
And enjoy your season 5 rewatches, everybody. Because it's on Netflix now, and you should check it out.
You can get to it wherever.
You can watch it anytime you want. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I don't know if we have any last minute questions that we need to get to, but we're going to be doing a couple of two more live streams after this, and then we'll probably do some stuff on Skype. So, but we'll be doing some live streams throughout the summer.
These are fun.
Yeah, these are a lot of fun. It's good to hang out with everybody and
easy editing for you. You don't have to drop those sound effects in anymore.
So easy. Well,
done and done.
Maybe we'll see how well I did with that.
They sounded fine from my end, so we'll see how it sounds on the actual recording. But
good. We'll see how it turned out. Because that's definitely a plus. But thank you to everybody who watched and who came by. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll be talking with y'all later.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Bye, Morgan.
Bye.